now believe that they are in control of this series. So I wanted to throw out, I'm fascinated by the betting odds. Sometimes the betting odds can confuse you. For example, in the NBA, did you know that the Oklahoma City Thunder are twice as big of a favorite to win their series as the Cavs are, despite the fact that the Cavs are up 3-1?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
And the Thunder are 2-2.
Interesting.
So for Florida and Toronto, that series is tied 2-2. Florida is a favorite at about minus 200. Edmonton, they're up in their series. They're a minus 250. Carolina is the big one. They're up in their series 2-1. They're minus 660. But for the Stars, it's only 2-1 in their series. They're a minus 340, which means they're more than 3-1 favorite. And we talked about that the second this series started. It was almost even. Bunch of money poured in on the Stars. And then when they won game 3 yesterday, even more money came in. It's just a 2-1 lead, which doesn't have to mean anything. In fact, you heard the stat yesterday. When it's 1-1 in a series, the team that wins game 3 wins 68% of the time. I meant the Pacers. I'm sorry. I did say
Pacers up 3-1.
Yeah, the Pacers are up 3-1. I apologize for that. And so it's just 2-1. And whoever wins this game, it's only 68% of the time. So not as high as you would think. But do you feel like the Stars are in complete control of this series?
I do, because in 2 games, they've established the tempo.
Yeah.
Game 2, they didn't look like they showed up at all. And on Friday night, Kevin, what did I tell you that I was concerned about? Usually when you're on the road and you take game 1, it's human nature to just kind of be like, okay, we did what we were supposed to do.
Yes.
And so they kind of backed off a little bit. You saw and I know G-Bag likes to use the desperate team theory.
Sure.
And in front of their home crowd, they were definitely the desperate team. Winnipeg was like, we got to do something.
And Hellebuck was really good.
Yes, he was. Then they get back to Dallas. Now, Dallas did not look like they did in game 1 to start that game by any means. Dallas looked like they had fresh legs. They looked like they were on it. But throughout that game, I never felt like the Stars didn't control the tempo of what they wanted. And then they had their moment. Stars seem to do this. They'll have a moment in the game where they've worn you down and they're going to collect about 3 goals or 2 goals that are going to put you away. And I think they're one of those teams that, because now they have size and Mikko, Bischel, like a lot of these guys, we have size now to go along with the speed and talent that we have. And they start wearing down opponents by the third period. They're beat up, and they've done everything they could do. So if the Stars can last early, then I feel very comfortable with how they'll finish. But yes, I feel like Otter's just going to continue to, what did they say yesterday? He doesn't have dazzling numbers, but he gets the job done.
Every time.
And that's what this team is aside from Mikko, nothing's dazzling, but they're getting the job done.
For the 4-6-9, the Stars are in control of the series if they don't get in their own way. Talking about you, Jamie Benn. And from the 4-6-9, so Kevin, does that mean tomorrow's a must-win game? I think they might be kind of kidding.
Pivotal.
Okay, I agree. Pivotal for sure. If the Stars win tomorrow, this series is over. Now, not everybody has to agree with me, and obviously you still have to get that 4th win, but I do not believe that this Winnipeg team can defeat the Stars.
How often do teams come back from 3-1 in hockey playoffs?
Probably it's more than you think, because they've also had multiple teams come back from 3-0.
Okay.
So hockey is a little bit different than most playoff sports. But I think the series is over if the Stars win tomorrow night, especially because that's 8 straight road losses for Winnipeg, all of them by 3 goals or more.
I like this from the 214. We looked like a tired team that had to travel game 2, but other than that, we have looked like clearly the better team. I think it's dead on.
Yeah.
Game 2, they just looked like, again, they didn't look like they had their legs underneath them after they got the win in game 1. I do feel like the roster also proves that it's the better group. I would like to see a little more offensive production out of them.
Sure.
But they're doing their job, making sure that defensively they're taking care of their business there. So I'm pretty okay with that. And whenever your top line is doing what it's doing, maybe your only other option is go out there and put some shoulders into ribs and go beat the team up, go beat the opponent up. And last night or yesterday, we had a leg up on them on hits, I do believe.
Did we really?
I think so.
Tremendous.
And again, that's home ice, so maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah, and look,
but they look physical.
For the 940, Bischel was hitting everything that came near him yesterday, and I freaking loved it. And I think you can argue this is either the 6th straight or at least the 5th out of the last 6 Stars games where I feel like they have held up physically. I don't know how that reflects in the team hits, but I feel like they've hung physically.
42-41 Stars on
there
hits.
You go.
So, which is better than 45 to 26 or something.
And what did we say going back to the beginning of the Colorado series? If the Stars find themselves in a place where they're consistently even or ahead in team hits, they're going to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, because nobody's used to that. In addition to their skill, like they're one of the most skilled teams on the ice.
From the 214, what the hell is going on with Heiskanen? I don't know. Like I'm not.
He's not ready.
That's true. But for people who are looking for like a bigger picture and a bigger answer, he continues to skate out there. So like it's not that he can't get on the ice and the injury is just so much worse than we thought and he needs like surgery ASAP. But there's something missing. There's that little part missing that can go from, hey, I saw you on the ice too. Can you actually be on the ice? Yeah. I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, I think you just got to trust their training staff that they're looking out for him, the player, and because they want him out there. They also know that they don't necessarily need him. They've already won a series without him.
Sure.
So if he was at 96% and we were down and looking bad, then they might say we got to push him out there. But right now they're in the front. And they're doing what they need to. And these now Game 7 against Colorado, maybe that was the game.
We're not taking him for that game. Yeah,
but he wasn't ready. So the Stars said we got to continue. Again, the dude had surgery in the middle of the season. He's been recovering since then. His legs, you got to imagine his conditioning still isn't where it's supposed to be. So that's the strongest thing that I'm waiting on for him. Now the other line though, Kevin from the 214, what's wrong with Benn? I don't know how to answer this question.
I do. His skills have been diminishing for a couple of years. Actually, that is probably nice. For several years. That doesn't mean that he can't still be good or he can't still dial it up for a series. But just as a baseline.
Or a couple shifts.
Yes. But as a baseline, you've seen Jamie Benn's skills diminish for several years. And unfortunately.
That's why he's on the third line.
Yes.
Honestly.
And that's been highlighted more probably in these last 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Then
you've had a couple moments where he's given up. I will say I probably was watching Harley with a little bit more of a microscope in the last 2 games because somebody texted in and they were like, remember we had the guy that was like, he's going to show he's a top 10 defender. And then somebody was like, yeah, that dude's given it up in the zone too many times. And I probably was a little too light on him because he scored some goals and he's done some special things, especially with the PK.
Yes.
But he has had some moments. Benn has had some moments that have been very costly and penalties that you're just like, that's not what I felt the captain should get a penalty for.
Yeah.
And you're a smarter player than that.
Did you guys like?
I think he holds himself accountable, and I think he's frustrated for himself, and he wants to be better for the team, knowing what we know about Jamie Benn.
So I wanted to ask you a question, both of y'all. Alec, I'm going to start with you on this one. I thought that the Stars, and it's sometimes it can be harder to see this reflected in like the stat sheet. I think the Stars did a significantly better job of picking up Winnipeg's skaters deeper in the ice. Like there were times, multiple times in Game 2 when I was like, oh yeah, neat goal. You let them coast 3/4 of the way to get there. It wasn't like a press defense, but I thought they did a significantly better job putting pressure on the other side of the ice when Winnipeg had the puck.
I don't know if that's just a result of the energy being higher or what, but it definitely did feel like they were picking up their assignments a lot quicker and traveling with the puck. And that was something that, like you said, it felt like in Game 2 was not totally absent, but from most players, it was very disappointing. That's the best word for it. And, that for me is just the best sign of energy. And maybe it was the home crowd. Maybe it was just getting some rest, getting to sleep in their own beds. And they're like, all right, look, let's stop playing with our food. Let's go ahead and do what we can do best. And it ties into the whole, physicality thing where the stats might not show it, but whenever you pick up your assignments and you carry them down the ice, what's going to happen? You're probably going to get more hits. You're probably going to be checking people more often because you are, just picking up such high speeds and you are making better defensive plays. So I'm right there with you.
One thing I think we dodged a bullet on, Corey. Mason Marchment. Really thought we were going to...
Nothing's happened yet?
Yeah, no. So they said it's not going to.
Wow.
Elliot Friedman last night said that the league had discussed the incident at the end of the second period with Marchment and the ref. And if
revisit this for anybody that didn't see it.
So Marchment felt like he had been jobbed twice on not getting a penalty call. Once when he was making the move to the net, and then there was another one in the game. He felt like that was potentially two, if not at least one penalty that probably should have got called that didn't happen. And so he kind of, would we say, love tapped the referee with his stick?
Yeah, it was like a come on, you're better than that.
Yeah, and
kind of
so
butt pat if in baseball.
The first time I saw it, I looked at the wrong part of the play, and I thought they were trying to say somebody got hit in the junk with a stick in the background of the play, and I had to re-watch it to see. They're like, oh, Marchment definitely kind of hit him on the side of the leg, maybe hit him on the shin. You can't make contact with the officials on purpose.
Here's the thing, though. That official didn't acted like nothing happened. And he went right through it.
And that's why there's going to be no action, because it's the on-ice officials, per Friedman, it's their call to determine if that qualifies as abuse of officials. They said no. To your point, he just kept on skating.
Yeah. Okay, so they decided.
Yes.
That because they had messed up and not called the forecheck to the ribs.
I don't know.
Or the cross check to the ribs.
I don't know if that is why.
Okay.
But maybe he would have been like, I kind of envisioned him tapping him and being like, hey, good no call, dip ass. And he was just kind of like, yeah,
you're right. Yeah, my bad. I'll get you on the next one.
But that is something that the Stars did avoid, because when I saw that after the fact, I was like, oh, that's not good.
I want to ask Stars fans out there regarding that. Is that a lucky miss?
I think it is.
Because Marchment hasn't been amazing this series. And even in the line, when they said that, the struggles continue for Marchment and he's getting frustrated.
And he'll sell a fall on you. Right? But we can agree on that.
Late in the game, I did see he had somebody hanging all over him and he was still doing everything he could to stay up. And then he had another there were two people on him at once. So he does battle. And again, at one point, he was our only size. Now this team obviously has more size to it. I'm just wondering, I haven't gotten out of him what I've wanted out of him. But I guess whenever, him and Duchesne were together, they were really good together at one time. And this kind of has changed a little bit.
Let's talk about Wyatt Johnston. Now, Cory, Wyatt Johnston has 18 playoff goals.
Yeah. And whenever everybody is like, hey, we're scoring lots of goals, Wyatt's like, me too, guys. I'm always part of this party. He's really good at it.
And so he has 18 playoff goals, which that wasn't over the air, which is the fourth most in NHL history for a player 21 or younger.
Okay.
He turns 22 on Wednesday. Do you want to know how he stacks up? Now, it feels very unlikely that he'll break the record. The record is currently held by Sidney Crosby, who has 24. So Wyatt would have to score 6 goals tomorrow to tie the record. Doesn't feel very likely.
I think he can do it.
Okay, I do not. Wyatt Johnston, I'm calling you out. I don't think you can score 6 goals tomorrow. But
877-881-1053.
Stop it.
Are you mad at Kevin?
He can't.
Or proud of him for challenging Wyatt?
Thank you. See? But more reasonably,
send in your hate now.
Patrick Kane and Jaromir Jagr both have 19. And again, this is Wyatt's last game before he turns 22. By the way, let's just all appreciate that.
Hell yeah.
He has almost as many playoff goals as years old he is. And it's in the early 20s. So he'll turn 22 on Wednesday. So he gets one more crack at this. Kane and Jagr both have 19. Wyatt Johnston has 18. If Wyatt Johnston could score 2 goals tomorrow, first of all, that'd really help us out. But also, that means he would be second all-time in most playoff goals scored before you turn 22, behind only Sidney Crosby, who I feel like a lot of people would probably say top 10 player of all time.
He gets the cup. Do you go ahead and put a statue of him out there, Kevin? Is that what you're saying?
I feel
Take
like
the Madonna statue down?
No, I'm not going to take the Madonna statue down, but don't you feel like right now that statue space is reserved for Mikko Rantanen?
That is interesting because of what he's doing.
Just put it up after this one.
But both of those guys were ours.
For sure.
You know, Mikko is a transplant. Now, he's obviously going to be ours for a while, as long as Jim Nill doesn't trade him and whoever, Nico doesn't take
I see
over
what
as
you're
the GM.
doing, yes.
But I can see what you're saying because, he is leading the way for this, and all Stars fans. How many new Stars fans are happening because of Mikko? You saw it. I got a Mikko jersey. I'm getting my mom a Mikko. All these people are all in on Mikko right now.